Alright, g'day guys, Matt Preston here, Built Prado. Now, you've already clicked on the video, you already know what we're talking about. Today is 5 things I love about my Prado 90 series. Let's get into it. So 6 months ago, I did a video about 5 things I hate about this car. Now, believe it or not, that was actually a really hard list to make. I had about 2 or 3 that were like definitely on there, but the other 2 I was really struggling to pick categories because, to be honest, there's not much that's wrong with this car. Pretty biased opinion, eh? But there are 5 things I love about this car, and it is actually a solid car. So let's go through them right now. Okay, so number 1 thing that I love about this car is the engine. So this is my car, but if you're not aware, this is the 3.4 litre 5VZFE petrol engine. No, this is petrol gas. But these came out in these cars and the Hiluxes and the 4Runners and Hilux Surfs, and they're a solid build. You got your V6 like layout of the engine, and it's really solid build. Now these do like 500,000 k's from factory Toyota claim, like if you don't sort of touch them, keep them stock. And I know many of my friends and mates that have done like 600,000, so they do prove themselves. And I do think they're a really solid motor. They're very compact, very small. Hard to work on. The Prados have quite small bonnets, you can't really get in there, whereas on my dad's 100 series they're huge and it's so easy to work on. But it doesn't matter though, because it's compact and it works well. And now they obviously have the 3 litre 1KZ, which is in the similar model to this and the Hilux and all them, but this motor had a bit more kilowatts, 132 I think, the other one had 96 or something like that. These was obviously better torque, better range, but these were just a solid motor. And you'll find there's more of these petrol models in these Prados than all the diesels in Australia, okay guys? So these are the real deal, okay? This is before the D4D time when that amazing motor came out, okay? So solid engine in these things, highly recommend, very solid, won't do you wrong. Same with the gearbox, just a 4-speed, does have the overdrive for the 5th gear, and it's just a solid unit, okay guys? So engine definitely to me has to be one of the great things I love about this car. Reliability gets a big tick for that. Okay, so the number 2 thing I love about this car is the size. Unlike all your big Land Cruisers, Patrols and Troopies, they're quite tall, big and wide. You know, as we know, they're a lot wider than these, which, don't get me wrong, is great for the storage, which is why it was actually one of the things I sort of hated about this car was the size. But it also does get to go in the thing I love about it. Because it's smaller, it fits in the car parks, it fits in those tight spots off road. It's just the perfect size that's not overly the top huge looking thing that doesn't fit in the city, okay? So obviously this car is modified, but if this was a stock Prado, it would be nice and small, get in the city car parking, all that sort of good stuff. So I definitely reckon size is good. It's a good medium size. These days all the cars are getting bigger, like American trucks, 79s. This is a good size. And remember, this is an 8-seater, so this has the same amount of seats as a 100 series Land Cruiser, which is just impressive because it is a lot smaller in the back, but it doesn't matter because it can still have that people storage if you need it. I won't lie to you though, when we did the Fraser Island trip with only 3 of us in here, sitting, we had 2 on the front and 1 in the back side seat. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was a bit uncomfortable and tight. Obviously, you know, this car's 27 years old. The seats weren't really for comfort back then, but it does the job. But for those long distance trips, I'll definitely probably look into a bigger car. This is probably the smallest you'd want to go, I'd almost say, for doing your big trips like Fraser. Okay guys, number 3 is affordability, because let's face it, not everyone has 100 grand just to blow on a brand new 4-wheel drive, and I can't relate enough. Most people that have 4-wheel drives are apprentices that need something to start, you know, something to get into the 4-wheel driving scene and figure out what you want from there. So I started with this Prado, and I didn't know 4 years later where I want to go and what my next car should be, but I wouldn't have known without starting here, which is a great stomping ground, okay? So obviously these cars, especially the petrol ones, you can pick them up between 5 and 10 grand with like 300,000 Ks on them, and they're literally fine, okay? So the point being, these cars are at a very good price, they're very responsibly priced, they have the Toyota badge, they have the Land Cruiser DNA in them, yet people overlook them because they're a Prado, and they go, oh, IFS, like, oh, whatever, no worries. And you know, that's fine. It just means that these are at a good price and they clearly can perform off-road if you do the correct mods to them, okay? Now, obviously, these are, you know, sort of budget end. So these are compared to, you know, your Pajeros and, you know, your Jackaroos. I mean, they don't exist anymore. But your sort of small IFS wagons. And also, if you don't want your petrol, you can obviously get the manual 1KZ, great car, and you know, they're probably a bit more priced to 10,000 to 15,000, which is really good that they're kind of holding their value. But the petrol ones, you know, you can get them for almost half the price of the diesel, and you might just lose a bit in torque and fuel economy. But in the long run, these will probably run as long, okay? Like, these motors are absolutely insane. So if you're wanting to pick one of these up for yourself and you're not too sure about them, I recommend the petrol, okay? Manual, auto, doesn't matter. I recommend the petrol DXLs. They're very good, very strong motors. But yeah, so this is why I reckon these fit in the affordable category very well. And for what the amount of car you're getting for the price is just insane. Compared to like a Suzuki Jimmy brand new, they're like 50K and they're tiny. You get so much car for such little price, and you get standard locking diff off-road. So all the packages there, you just need to go and buy one. Okay guys, the fourth thing I love about my Prado is the brand. So because of that badge right there, instantly this car has years of pedigree on and off-road, racing. This brand is all over it, okay? So as we know, Toyota are a huge company, Japan made. They do all the Land Cruisers, old Hiluxes, you name it, as we all know. And this is why I think this is the number 4 category, because people look at this, now they either look at that and go, oh, Toyota tax, it's worth heaps more than it is, which, you know, can happen, but we'll also know that these run very well, even when not maintained properly or taken care of properly. These will still run day and night. So very capable, all the parts are very cost effective, very affordable, buy them anywhere online, in Australia at least, and all the parts you need are there. If you're broken out in the bush, more than likely there's a part on here that will be able to fix it for this car, okay? And this is a Prado. Think about all the Land Cruisers, there'll be even more parts out there. So can't stress enough, guys. I think one of the things I love about this car is the brand, and you know, all the mods that suit to it. And everyone loves Toyota, baby Land Cruiser, okay? This is a great car, great brand, great line. Prado, the Prado line is outsold the Pajero line, made the Pajero line not exist. Okay guys, remember Toyota copied the Pajero but did it better back in the day, and here we are now, 27 years later, this car's still running, no worries. So can't stress enough, the brand is everything, and I do think that this is a great reason why it's my number 4 reason I love about this car is the brand and the history behind it. Okay guys, number 5 thing I love about this car is the fuel economy. Now, by any means I'm not referring to this car here, because with these tyres and this lift and these mods, this is far from it. But I am talking about the stock car, which I did used to have 4 years ago, and then it was good, okay? So you can't see, but behind the camera here is a Ford Territory, right? So that's got the 4-litre straight 6 Barra motor. Now that does about 13 to 15 litres per 100. This car did 11 to 12 litres per 100, okay, when it was stock. Now that was on 32s. When it was on 31s, it was even less, okay? So these cars, despite being a full drive and being an all-wheel drive all the time, all 4 wheels are constantly driving on this thing 24/7. So it's going to use more fuel than a normal 4 drive would. But this is actually really good considering. When these are stock, these will go really far. And unlike most 4 drives, these have 2 tanks. They've got a 100-litre tank and a 70-litre tank, okay? So mine's been converted from the previous few owners to gas LPG. So mine's a little bit better than probably the average, because, you know, I'm buying gas for $1 a litre instead of $2 for petrol. But obviously it doesn't perform as well, it's not as efficient, okay? But regardless, what I'm trying to say to you guys, if you want a car that's got the fuel efficient category, this is it, okay? So what I've done very well to get that fuel economy down, considering it's a 6-cylinder, it's using like 3 to 4 litres less than the Territory, despite this having you know, all-wheel drive. The Territories are all just rear-wheel drive or front-wheel drive, it's one of those 2, but only 2 wheels moving at a time. This has got all 4 constantly turning. That transfer case is using power all the time to 4 wheels. So this uses the same amount of fuel, if not better than the Territory, and it's full drive, and it's got all the capabilities, and it's bigger storage, better space, and it's cheaper, okay? So there's not much things wrong with this car. You'd be silly not to get one of these, okay? and obviously it's a wagon, so the registration's cheap. Okay, so you just got to think all these extra little things that you don't think about, and this definitely gets number 5 place for me, is the fuel economy on this thing. Okay guys, so they're my 5 things I love about the Prado 90 series. Now throughout this video I'm kind of referring to like the car as in a stock version of itself, not this car exactly, just so it's a bit more general and everyone understands. But to be honest, that whole list is also 5 things I love about it as well, okay? Minus the fuel economy, but that's what you get for big tyres. But honestly guys, this is just my opinion, so don't take it personally. And there's people in the comments that are already writing all this stuff. This is my opinion, okay? So, great car overall, good pricing, good fuel economy, and the good brand behind it. I think it's a solid build. If you have one yourself, you can probably agree. Countless of you guys in the comments are saying all these stories about the ones you've had and how they don't skip a beat. So, that's my opinion guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to see any other videos I've done, have a look at my channel. I've done heaps of other car videos there. Until then guys, we'll catch you guys next time on Built Prado.